Dear learners, I will talk about Sustainable Development Goals, in short SDGs, an overview. I will try to give an overview about Sustainable Development Goals. Myself, Dr. Ajit Mondal, Assistant Professor of Education, West Bengal State University. This session primarily covers number 1, meaning of sustainability and its dimensions. Next, concept of sustainable development. Next, Millennium Development Goals. Next, Sustainable Development Goals. Next, implications of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Role of education in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. All these are primary areas of our today's discussion. At the very beginning, we should know the meaning of sustainability for gaining better insights into the meaning of Sustainable Development Goals. What is sustainability? Before conceptualizing sustainable development, we need to explain the term sustainability. Today, humanity has been facing global environmental, societal, and economic problems. Even the current problems of today are far more intriguing, disturbing, destroying, and even alarming than earlier. In this context, the citizens of the world realize the necessity of moving towards sustainability. Actually, the root of sustainable development comes out of the concept of sustainability. The word sustainability is derived from the Latin sustainer, that means tendered or to hold. So, the term sustainable development means simply sustained growth and sustained well-being, sustained happiness. Sustainability is the paradigm for thinking about a future in which environmental, societal, and economic considerations are balanced in the pursuit of holistic development and an improved quality of life. This statement has been given by UNESCO in the year 2012 in a document. Now, what is needed is a new era of economic growth. Means growth that is forceful and at the same time socially and environmentally sustainable. These three spheres, that is society, environment, and economy, all three dimensions or components or elements are intertwined within the concept of sustainability. If we think of these three areas are circles of the same sizes that overlap each other, then the human well-being will be at the center of the circle. You can look at the picture, then you will understand where the sustainability stands at within the circle. Today, sustainability is understood as a stable condition which balances the following three aspects. First, environmental sustainability, which consists of maintenance of use of nature and resources. Second, economic sustainability, which maintains efficiency and technological innovation while building fair and appropriate economic systems. Third, social sustainability, which maintains lifestyles, quality, and welfare through a system that maintains basic rights, needs, and culture and social variety. Sustainability is based on the interaction of three key areas: environmental, social, and economic. So, it is thus important to harmonize the three core elements: economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. The concept sustainability also encompasses poverty, population, health, food security, democracy, human rights, and peace. Sustainability is also a moral and ethical imperative in which the cultural diversity and traditional knowledge need to be respected. So, we can understand sustainability not only a interaction of three key areas: environmental, social, and economic, but also this concept encompasses this idea of sustainability covers poverty, population, health and food security, and democracy, human rights, peace, etc. Sustainability is also a moral and ethical imperative. So, sustainability not only harmonize the three core elements: economic growth and social inclusion, but also environmental protection also it encompasses. Just remember this feature of sustainability. So, the concept of sustainable emerged in the 80s in response to a growing realization of the need to balance economic and social progress within concern for environment and protection of natural resources. Now, we will try to define the concept of sustainable development. The realization of the importance of environment and its connection with development and quality of human life in the global community has given birth to the concept of sustainable development. In short, it is called SD. However, it gained worldwide popularity with the publication of the report Our Common Future by the World Commission on Environment and Development, popularly known as the Brundtland Commission, in the year 1987. Our Common Future, the report was published in the year 1987. This report was very important to conceptualize the idea about sustainable development. This report basically gives a sound definition about sustainable development. Later we will know the definition given by this report, Our Common Future. Another definition given by World Wildlife Fund. It defined sustainable development as improvement in the quality of human life within the carrying capacity of supporting ecosystem. So, sustainable development means balancing economic and social progress with the concern for environment and protection of natural resources. Next, emerged out of the numerous environmental movements in the global level, realizing the necessity of moving towards sustainability. Sustainable development primarily refers to the many processes and pathways to achieve sustainability, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. That is sustainability, sustainable development. The improving the quality of human life within the carrying capacity of supporting ecosystem. All these are cardinal features of sustainable development. As a whole, we can conceptualize the term sustainable development. Sustainable development goals next. What are the goals which are called sustainable development goals? Now we will try to understand. Before going into the issue of sustainable development goals, we now briefly revisit its successor, that is MDGs, Millennium Development Goals, for gaining better understanding. Sustainable Development Goals is actually the successor to the Millennium Development Goals. In the year 2000 September, leaders of 189 countries gathered in the Millennium Summit in the United Nations headquarters in New York City and signed the historic Millennium Declaration, in which they committed to achieving a set of 8 measurable goals with 18 targets ranging from minimizing extreme poverty and hunger to promoting gender equality and reducing child mortality by the target year of 2015. This is actually the Millennium Development Goals, actually the successor of Sustainable Development Goals. Its journey started in the year 2000. The following are the 8 Millennium Development Goals which were to be achieved by 2050. All the 8 Millennium Development Goals, their target year was settled 2015. First goal, first Millennium Development Goal, eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Second goal, achieve universal primary education. Goal number 3, promote gender equality and empower women. Goal number 4, reduce child mortality. Goal 5, improve material health. Goal number 6, combating HIV, AIDS, malaria and other diseases. Goal number 7, ensure environmental sustainability. Goal number 8, develop a global partnership for development. All these are goals in 8 in number were settled down in the World Summit in the year 2000. Later we see the Millennium Development Goals have been extended, and all these are goals are revised and increased in number. The 8 goals have been turned into 17 goals. Let us see the future goals. Actually, the world has already realized the Millennium Development Goals in a greater extent by 2015. However, the achievements have been uneven across the world, across the globe. That's why the discussion of a post-2015 agenda was thus necessitated. In the year 2015, in the month of September, at the UN, United Nations Summit on Sustainable Development held at the United Nations headquarters in New York City, the more than 150 heads of government agreed to replace the previous Millennium Development Goals with a new set of Sustainable Development Goals, which will continue the momentum generated by the Millennium Development Goals and fit into a global development framework beyond 2015. The outcome of the summit was transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It includes a total of 17 goals, Sustainable Development Goals, 17, a total number, 169 specific targets and well over 200 indicators. The motto of the 2030 Agenda is "No one will be left behind." The Transforming Our World 2020-30 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This is the document came out of the summit. The title of the document, United Nations Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This is the cover page of this document. The preamble of Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development reiterates the Sustainable Development Goals seek to build on Millennium Development Goals and complete what they did not achieve. They seek to realize the human rights of all and to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. They are integrated and indivisible and balance the three dimensions of sustainable development, that is the economic, social and environmental. Basically, all the sustainable development goals are interrelated and interlinked. All these goals seek to harmonize the essential three cardinal components, the economic, social and environmental. Sustainable development goals represents a more comprehensive agenda than the Millennium Development Goals. However, all the sustainable development goals are universal, integrated, indivisible and transformative in nature. The total sustainable development goals, 17 in number. These are: goal number 1, end poverty in all its forms everywhere across the globe. Goal number 2, end hunger, achieve food security and improved nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Goal number 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Goal number 4, ensure inclusive and quality education for all and promote lifelong learning. Goal number 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Goal number 6, ensure access to water and sanitation for all. Goal number 7, ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. Goal number 8, promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment and decent work for all. Goal number 9, build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Goal number 10, reduce inequality within and among countries. Goal number 11, make cities inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. Goal number 12, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Goal number 13, take urgent action to combat climate changes and its impacts. Goal number 14, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas and marine resources. Goal number 15, sustainably manage forest, combat desertification, halt and reserve land degradation, halt biodiversity loss. Goal number 16, promote just, peaceful and inclusive societies. Goal number 17, revitalizing the global partnership for sustainable development. This is the last goal. The total goals, 17 in number, all these are goals are interlinked and integrated. These are the basic nature of all these goals. All goals will be achieved by the year 2030. It has been settled down in the World Summit held in New York City in the year 2050. These goals have been settled down for achieving the unrealized goals framed in the Millennium Development Goals in the year 2000. These are the 17 goals. This picture shows this. Now I will try to talk about the relation between education and sustainable development goals. First of all, is there any relation between education and sustainable development? Definitely, there is a sound relation, there is a positive relation between education and sustainable development goals. UNESCO, as the United Nations Special Agency for Education, is entrusted to lead and coordinate the Education 2030 agenda. UNESCO has been empowered to accelerate the role of education to actualize the sustainable development goals. Education, essential to achieve all of these goals, has its own dedicated goal number 4, which aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunity for all. Goal number 4 has its own 7 sub-goals. These are: goal number 4.1, ensure that all girls and boys complete free and equitable and quality primary and secondary education. Goal 4.2, ensure that all girls and boys have access to quality early childhood development, care and pre-primary education. Goal number 4.3, ensure equal access for all women and men to affordable quality technical, vocational and tertiary education including university. Goal 4.4, increase substantially the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills including technical and vocational skills for employment, decent jobs and entrepreneurship. Goal 4.5, eliminate gender disparities in education and ensure equal access to all levels of education and vocational training. Goal 4.6, ensure that all youth and adult, both men and women, achieve literacy and numeracy. Goal 4.7, ensure all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development goals. So, we can understand there is a vital goal, that is the Sustainable Goal 4 out of 17 goals. The Sustainable Development Goal 4 has its also own 7 sub-goals. These are the sub-goals. That is why education is very essential for achieving all the other goals. Why education is a central driver for achieving of all 17 Sustainable Development Goals? Let us see. Education is primarily, essentially critical for promoting sustainable development and improving the capacity of the people to address environment and development issue. Education is conceived as a key driver for the achievement of all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, because education contributes to the vision of sustainable global development. Ultimately, all educational activities must be carried out in line with the 5 aims of education: learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to transform oneself and society. Education plays a vital role for actualizing all other 17 development goals. That's why education should be reoriented towards achieving the all other 17 development goals. SDG 4 ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Education is the key that will allow many other sustainable development goals to be achieved. When people are able to get quality education, they can break from the cycle of poverty. Education is very essential for getting quality education. Without quality education, all the other development goals cannot be achieved. Education helps to reduce inequalities and to reach gender equality. It also empowers people everywhere to live more healthy and sustainable lives. Education is also crucial to fostering tolerance between people and contributes to more peaceful societies. In this way, education is very essential and central key driver to achieving all the sustainable development goals which are targeted within 2030. Now, we will look at our own newly framed National Education Policy 2020. Is there any space for promoting sustainable development goals? So, we try to find out the policy recommendations or any statement given by the policy, primarily in sync with the spirit of the Sustainable Development Goal 4. The National Education Policy of India utters that Sustainable Development Goal 4 can be achieved by 2030 through reconfiguring and revamping the education system substantially to foster learning. This vision has been reiterated in the policy of 2020. NEP 2020 also laid down an array of policy reforms in schools and higher education systems in the country. 5 founding pillars of this policy, such as access, equity, affordability, accountability, and quality, have been embedded in harmony with the principles of Agenda 2030 for sustainable development in order to develop a resilient and robust education system in India. An equitable quality education is the key to realization of sustainable development of any nation. National education policy also emphasizes this issue significantly. The national education policy actually has been built upon the sustainable development goals. Also, when the national education policy was being formulated, this policy heavily emphasizes the new education policy 2020 has been framed in sync with the vision or targets framed by the sustainable development goals. All the vision or policy formulations or recommendations have been incorporated within the document in sync with the sustainable development goals. The policy emphasizes without equitable good quality education, the realization of sustainable development goals cannot be possible. Now, what we have discussed, we may summarize what we have talked about. At first, the concept of sustainable development emerged. We have seen this concept emerged in the 80s in response to a growing realization of the need to balance economic and social progress with the concern for environment and protection of natural resources. Sustainability is a paradigm for thinking about a future in which environmental, social, and economic considerations are balanced in the pursuit of holistic development and an improved quality of life. Sustainable development, actually the idea comes from, its root was sustainability. The Sustainable Development Goals in 2015 is actually the successor Millennium Development Goals framed in the year 2000 to complete the unfinished, undone goals unachieved by 2030. These goals seek to realize the balance among economic, social, and environment. We can say the Sustainable Development Goals are considered as an extended version of Millennium Development Goals framed in the year 2000. Sustainable Development Goals encompasses a varieties, targets, indicators, and measured 17 goals. It has its own broader outlook, broader vision, and mission. Lastly, we should remember some essential cardinal points. What we have conceptualized. Try to recall the main cardinal areas. We have known the root of sustainable development. The answer is sustainability. The three cardinal aspects of sustainability, what are these? All these are interlinked, balanced. Already I have talked about economic, environment, and social. These three areas are interlinked within the concept of sustainability. Critically explain the concept of sustainable development. Then you have to talk about at first the concept of sustainability. Then you will give the proper idea about sustainable development. Sustainable development generally means meeting the needs of present generation without compromising, without creating hurdles to the future generation for meeting their own needs. Such type of idea for the first time given by the Brundtland report. Next, what were the 8 goals set in the Millennium Summit in the year 2000? There are Total 8 goals, all of you know. One by one, tell. Give an overview of sustainable development goals. How does national education policy respond to sustainable development goals? Definitely, our new national education policy framed in the 2020 has significantly responded to sustainable development goals. Basically, the policy puts emphasis on SDG 4. Policy states that providing quality equitable education, we can achieve all other sustainable development goals. Realization of 17 development goals cannot be realized, cannot be achieved without quality equitable education. That's why the policy has recommended to reconfigure the whole gamut of our education system from KG to PG. Okay. Now we will try solve some multiple choice question. There are 3 questions. Try to solve. Suppose the Brundtland report was published in the year. There are 4 choices. Pick out the best choice. 1987, 1972, 1996 and 2000. Definitely the answer 1987. Then try to answer the following questions. Suppose, what is meant by the term sustainable development? What were the Millennium Development Goals? Briefly explain the role of education for achieving the sustainable development goals, or elaborate the concept of sustainability, or explain the relation between sustainability and sustainable development. Once again, recall the relation between sustainability and sustainable development. Sustainability is a means. Sustainable development is our goal, is our target. Hopefully, this session covers ins and outs of sustainable development goals. Actually, we have discussed what is sustainability, concept of sustainable development, Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals. Then we pointed out the relation between education and Sustainable Development Goals. We try to locate the role of education in achieving the goals. We have seen there the education plays an essential role. Education is a key driver, powerful and effective medium, effective catalyst for realizing all the goals. Through quality and equitable education from kindergarten to postgraduate, in all levels of education, in all types of education, through equitable education, through quality education, providing such type of education to all, we can achieve all the 17 goals by 2030. Thank you, all of you.